So, you awakened, and then you lost all motivation. Strange, isn't it? You thought awakening would make you more powerful, more driven, more alive, but instead, there's silence, no excitement, no hurry. No fire. Let's understand this. The first thing to realize is, awakening is not an achievement. It is not a medal to hang on your chest. It is a falling away, a dissolving. What you called ambition, what you called purpose, what you called success, these were all rooted in a certain identity. Now that identity has collapsed so naturally, the drive to chase shadows has also collapsed. Before awakening, the ego was your engine. I want to become this. I must prove that. I need to reach there. It was all ego in disguise. Now the ego has no job. It has retired, and you are sitting there, wondering why you don't feel like running anymore. But this stillness that has come is not demotivation. It is not laziness. It is life taking a deeper breath. But because your mind only understands movement through noise and restlessness, it calls this silence losing motivation. Before, the world moved you, a little praise and you would dance, a little blame and you would shrink. Now, the world presses the same buttons, and nothing happens. This is not a loss, this is freedom. But yes, there is a transition. Inner clarity is here, but outer action has not yet aligned. You are not lost. You are paused, you are recalibrating how to move, not from desire, not from fear, but from truth, and the biggest trap is waiting for the old fire to return. It won't. You have stepped into a new dimension now. The old fire was smoke and mirrors. Now, you must ignite a different kind of flame, one that burns quietly, steadily, with no smoke, no noise, no drama, not the fire that wants the world, but the fire that comes from simply being one with existence. Until you know that fire, yes, you will feel empty, but once it lights up, you will not call it motivation, you will call it grace. You see, most people think awakening is some grand goal, something to achieve, something to conquer, like climbing a mountain or collecting a prize. But awakening is not about gaining anything. It is about losing everything you thought you were. It is a dissolution, not an acquisition. The you that was chasing goals, chasing people, chasing recognition. Awakening quietly erases that. In the beginning, it can feel confusing, because all your life you were told to be somebody, to strive, to build, to climb, and now, suddenly, all of that feels unnecessary, meaningless, and you ask, where did my motivation go? The truth is, it was never motivation. It was restlessness. It was discomfort disguised as drive. Awakening burns that away. It does not give you more ambition. It sets you free from it. But freedom, if you've only known captivity, can feel like emptiness. Like something is missing. In reality, what's missing is the illusion that once kept you running in circles. Now there is space. Now there is silence. And only from this emptiness, something real can grow. Not born from desperation, not from desire, but from deep stillness. Before awakening, much of what moved you, your plans, your goals, your so-called passion, was driven by a very subtle force, the ego, not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet one that constantly whispered, I must become something, I must be seen, I must be significant. It was the ego that fueled your motivation, dressed up as ambition, wrapped in urgency. After awakening, that ego begins to fall away, and with it, the fuel that once pushed you forward also disappears. Suddenly, there's no voice shouting at you to be better, no pressure to prove yourself to the world. The inner noise quiets down, and in that silence, something unexpected happens. You don't feel like doing much anymore. You may start to think something is wrong. You ask, why do I feel numb? Where's the fire that used to keep me alive? But it's not numbness, it's not depression, it's the absence of compulsion. That false fire has gone out. And what remains is a deep stillness which your mind cannot yet understand. You see, the ego was never your enemy. It was simply a tool, a mask that helped you function in a world that runs on comparison and competition. But once you awaken, the need for that mask vanishes. The roles, the performances, the identity, all of it becomes irrelevant. In this space, you are no longer driven by fear of failure or the hunger for applause. And because you've mistaken that drive for life itself, you call its absence losing motivation, but it is not a loss, it is a transition. You are being asked now not to react, but to respond, not to perform, but to simply be. And in time, a new movement may rise within you, not from ego, not from ambition, but from an effortless knowing, a quiet certainty. Until then, be still, let the old fires die, the real light doesn't flicker, it just is. There comes a moment after awakening when everything becomes still. The mind, once a buzzing hive of plans, desires, anxieties, suddenly sits down like a tired animal, and in that stillness you begin to feel something you're not used to: nothingness. No passion pulling you, no fear chasing you, no voice urging you to act, just space, just presence. And here is where many become confused. You begin to think, have I become lazy? Am I losing my purpose? But this is not laziness. This is not a lack of energy. It is a different quality of energy altogether. One that does not scream, one that does not push. It is silent but profound, powerful but invisible. The mind, however, only recognizes force. It only trusts action when it is noisy, when it is urgent. So when this new, still energy arrives, the mind calls it useless. It says, you're wasting time, do something. But doing, without being, has been the disease all along. Awakening interrupts that madness. It teaches you to sit without needing to go anywhere. It shows you the richness of the moment without needing to achieve something. But because you've spent your whole life in motion, this rest feels like emptiness. Like something has been taken from you. But what's really happened is that the false fires have been extinguished. Now, if you don't mistake this stillness for stagnation, you will begin to feel another kind of movement. An inner shift, slow but sure. It won't shout, it won't rush, it will simply guide you, not toward success, but toward truth, not toward noise, but toward balance. And from that stillness, action may come again, but it will no longer be a compulsion. It will be a conscious expression. Not because you have to, but because it is time. Until then, be patient with the quiet. It is not the end, it is the doorway. Before awakening, everything you did was a reaction. The world would throw something at you, a challenge, a compliment, an insult, and immediately you would respond. Not with awareness, but with conditioning. Someone praised you and you felt high. Someone criticized you and you felt low. You were like a puppet, pulled by invisible strings, dancing to the rhythm of other people's opinions and expectations. After awakening, something changes. Those strings are cut. The same world is there, but it no longer stirs you the same way. People still talk, but their words pass through you like wind through open space. Success and failure still happen, but they don't shake your core anymore. It's not that you've become indifferent. It's just that your center is no longer outside of you. Now this may feel strange, because for so long your fire came from outside. Competition, ambition, pressure. You were driven by what the world wanted from you or what it denied you, but when you awaken, you realize all that movement was just noise. It wasn't yours, it belonged to the world, not to your being. And when the world no longer dictates your fire, there's a gap, a quiet. You don't wake up with the same urgency, the chase is gone, and so you ask, have I become numb? Have I lost my purpose? No. You've simply stopped reacting. Now life is asking you to respond from a deeper place. But this new fire doesn't come easily. It's not lit by applause. It doesn't spark from fear. It grows from awareness, from presence, and that takes time. It takes patience. Until then, yes, you may feel like nothing moves you, but in truth, for the first time, you are not being moved. You are becoming still enough to choose your direction. This is not the death of motivation, it is the birth of clarity, and when that clarity ripens, it will not be a sprint, it will be a dance. Not chaotic, not desperate, but graceful, effortless, real. Awakening brings with it a powerful sense of inner clarity. For the first time, you begin to see through the illusions, the games people play, the masks they wear, the endless chase for things that never truly satisfy. You look around and realize how much of life is driven by noise, and inside you, a deep silence settles. A knowing, a kind of calm truth that needs no explanation, but then something strange happens. Even with all this clarity, you find yourself. Still, you know what is false, you feel what is true, yet your body doesn't move. Your hands don't reach, your feet don't step forward, and you wonder, why, I understand so much now, yet I'm not doing anything. It is because understanding is not the same as action. Awakening shows you what is real, but it does not automatically teach you how to live from that reality. You are no longer driven by your old compulsions, but you haven't yet learned how to act consciously. You've unplugged from the illusions, but you haven't fully reconnected to the deeper intelligence that moves from truth. So you feel a kind of in-between state, aware but inactive, clear but not flowing, and in this space doubt creeps in. You begin to judge yourself. You say, maybe I'm stuck, maybe I've lost my drive, but you are not stuck, you are adjusting. Your system is rewiring itself. You are learning how to act, not out of fear, not out of desire, but from alignment. This phase is not a mistake, it's a pause, a recalibration. Just as the eye must adjust when it moves from darkness to light, your being is adjusting to a new way of living. You are learning to move, not because you want something, but because something true wants to be expressed through you. So be gentle with yourself, let the inner clarity settle deeper. Don't rush to act just to feel useful again. When the inner and outer come into harmony, your action will no longer be effort, it will be flow, and in that flow, what you once called motivation will look very small compared to the vastness of simple, conscious living. One of the greatest traps after awakening is the silent hope that the old fire will return, that restless energy that once drove you to chase, to build, to conquer. You miss it. Not because it brought peace, but because it made you feel alive. It gave you something to do. It gave you a sense of movement. Now that it's gone, you sit in this vast, quiet space and wonder, will that fire ever come back? But it won't. And it shouldn't. That fire was born of lack. It was fueled by your need to become something other than what you were. It came from comparison, from fear, from desire. It burned bright, yes, but it also smoked, it suffocated, it consumed. And now, after awakening, you are being asked to stop reaching for that same old flame, yet you wait, you sit in stillness, but you keep looking back, waiting for that familiar urgency to return. But understand this, awakening is not a loop. It's a doorway. Once you've walked through, the landscape has changed. You cannot go back to who you were, and if you try, you'll only feel more disconnected, more lost. Instead of waiting for the old fire, you must allow a new flame to be lit within you. One that is not loud but steady, one that does not need applause or results, a fire that burns from stillness, not from struggle, from presence, not pressure. It won't make you race, but it will move you deeply. This new fire does not scream, do something. It whispers, be truthful, be alive, be here. It's not here to help you achieve more, it's here to help you exist more fully. It guides not from outside, but from within. So stop waiting for restlessness to return. Welcome the calm, and in that calm feel for the deeper spark, not of ambition but of alignment, not of force but of flow. That is the real fire. So if you feel you've lost motivation after awakening, understand, you have not lost anything of value. You have only shed the noise. What has faded is not your purpose, but your illusion of purpose, the chase, the restlessness, the constant urge to prove something. That was never truly yours. It was borrowed from the world, shaped by fear and fueled by desire. Now, a deeper silence is calling you. A new space has opened, not to fill with frantic doing, but to sit with, to feel, to live from. You are not empty. You are clear. You are not lost. You are free, but freedom takes courage. Because it does not shout, it does not pull, it simply waits for you to choose. Let go of the craving for the old fire, let the stillness burn through you instead. Trust that something wiser is unfolding within, a movement not from the mind, but from the core of your being. And when it moves you, you will act, you will speak, you will create, but not out of pressure, not to become, simply because it is time, and in that moment your life will no longer be a reaction. It will be a conscious offering. That is not the end of motivation, that is its highest form.